Hey everybody, so I'm going to show you what I do to cover up these minor dark circles I have. First, I start off with Bobbi Brown's Intensive Skin Serum Corrector in this salmon color. And I just go ahead and dab it a little bit in the corners where my discoloration is. So you just want to go ahead and put it wherever it is that your discoloration is. And using a mini beauty blender, I'm just going to go ahead and tap that in. The second step I like to do is using my Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. This is in the shade Custard. I put that right on top of the corrector, and I don't bring it far down like I used to in the past because I use the next step for that. Step number 3 is my Urban Decay Naked Skin Corrector. This is a much lighter shade than the previous Nars concealer, and I like to use this more as a highlight. So this is the one that I like to bring further down onto my cheeks, and I use that same mini beauty blender and just tap that right on top. And obviously I do not know how to count because that's not step 3, it's step 4. I like using my Mercier translucent powder to set this. And first I use that mini beauty blender to make sure there's no creases in there. And then I get my makeup bullet and I put that into the powder and I go ahead and press that underneath my eyes. With a Morphe E3 brush, I love this brush. I just go ahead and sweep off all remaining powder that is under my eyes. Using Benefit's Dew The Hoola liquid bronzer, I'm going to put a little dab of it on top of my beauty blender and put this in the areas that I want to add a little warmth to my face, which is usually the hollows of my cheeks, a little bit around the hairline and underneath my chin. And going back in with that Urban Decay concealer, I'm just going to highlight the forehead, the bridge of my nose, and a little bit on my chin. And also, just to remind you, I'm putting all of this liquid in the places where I have not yet set with powder. Grabbing a little drop of the Dew The Hoola bronzer on the back of my hand with a Morphe M513 brush, and this is what I'm going to use to contour my nose a little bit on the sides and on the tip of my nose, as follows. To set all of that liquid bronzer, I'm using Too Faced Chocolate Soleil with a Nars Ita brush. This is going to go in the same exact places that I used all that liquid Dew The Hoola from Benefit. And with that same Morphe E3 brush, I like to go over every single step I take with powders and buff everything out to make sure there's no harsh lines. This brush is literally my best friend. You will always see me using it after everything. And here I am contouring my nose with the same powder on top of the liquid I did, and on top of that I'm going to be using a Sigma brush to taper off and take away any harsh lines and just pretty much blend everything out. For blush today, I'm going to be using MAC's Melba with a Nars blush brush. And this is actually a beautiful color for the summer. It's a nice peachy pink tone, which is obviously amazing for the summertime. For highlight, I've been loving Jouer Champagne Cream Highlight, and I love using it with a small beauty blender. This is their, I guess, the size in between their regular one and their mini one. It's meant for blush, but I like using it for cream blushes as well as highlight. So I like putting this on the tops of my cheekbones and then following up with a powder highlight. And for the powder highlight, I'm using Becca's Opal, and I'm using a Morphe mini fan brush. It has no name or number to it, but it's just their mini fan brush. And I like to do this, obviously, in the areas that are common sense to some people. But on the top of my cheekbones, on my Cupid's bow, a little bit on the bridge of my nose, and on the tip. And here is a little Morphe brush that I like using for my nose. So I just like to do it a little bit on the tip of the nose and a little bit on the top of the bridge of the nose, because I have a little bump there. So I put it where the bump is not, so it looks a little more even. And once again, on top of this, I'm going to be using my Morphe E3 brush just to blend everything out and make sure it's no harshness. Oh, and by the way, this is a little series of videos, so if you didn't notice, I already started with foundation on and my eyebrows are not on because the next video I'm posting is going to be my new eyebrow routine. And after that, you shall see. So anyways, here is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed it, but it's a much simple, clear way to bronze, highlight, and all that. Thanks so much. See you in the next video.